Alright, let's do another one where we have to solve for x. This one's number 64 on the review sheet. I have 5x cubed plus 11 equals 1091. I'm going to isolate that variable, so I'm going to subtract 11 from both sides. I have 5x cubed equals 1091 minus 11 is 1080. Now I'm left with 5x cubed equals 1080, but if I divide both sides by 5, I'm left with x cubed equals 1080 divided by 5. Well, what is that? I think that's going to be 200 and what? 1080 divided by 5, 216 equals 216. And now we want to find the cubed root of 216. We want to isolate, let's go back. Alright, we have x cubed equals 216. This is like one of those important steps that kind of makes this problem why we're doing it. So we need to figure out how to isolate x when we have it raised to a power. Well, we just take the root of that power. So if I have it raised to the third, I take the third root. I'm going to take the third root of both sides. Now I'm left with x to the third. Well, the third root of that is just x, and the third root of 216 . And it turns out that this is 6, so I have x equals 6. There we go. Let's do another one. Let's do number 67, a square root one. This is really simple. I have x equals the square root of 3x plus 10. Alright, well, it's the square root, so how do I get rid of that square root? Well, if I'm taking the square root, in order to get rid of the root, I want to raise it to the power of the root, which would be the second power. So I raise both sides of the equation to the second power. And I have x squared equals the second root, the square root of 3x plus 10 all raised to the second power is just 3x plus 10, okay? Okay, I guess it wasn't that simple because now we have to solve for x. I have an x squared, I have an x term, then I have a constant. It looks like I'm going to have to factor. So let me set everything equal to 0. X squared minus 3x minus 10 equals 0. What multiplies to negative 10 and adds negative 3? Well, that's negative 5 and positive 2, so I'll have x minus 5, x plus 2. So it looks like my solutions for this would be x equals 5 and x equals negative 2. Now, I want to see if this is extraneous. And I know that, well, first of all, let's see if both of these are true. Is it true that when I plug in 5, is it true that 5 equals the square root of 3 times 5 plus 10? Well, 5 equals 15. 5 equals the square root of 15 plus 10. So that's 5 equals the square root of 25. That is true. Now what about when I plug in negative 2? Okay, is it true that negative 2 equals the square root of 3 times negative 2 plus 10? Is it true that negative 2 equals 3 times negative 2 is negative 6, so the square root of negative 6 plus 10? Well, what's negative 6 plus 10? Negative 2 equals the square root of positive 4. So negative 6 plus 10 is positive 4. And we know that the square root of positive 4 can either be 2 or negative 2. Because if I square either one, if I square negative 2, I get 4. If I square 2, I get 4. They both equal 4. So yeah, that's also an answer. So our answers are what they were above. They are x equals +5 and x equals -2.